Hey guys, we're here at the Boost Creep where we are taking this 2010 Volkswagen Golf GTI Mk6 and performing a Stage 2 Cobb tune today. We've already done the Stage 1, did the dyno, we're going to do the Stage 2, then do another dyno test and see what those results are. Okay Jerry, so what have you done so far and what's going to happen next?
So we're installing the Cobb Stage 2 power package on this car today. So far I have removed the factory air intake system, and right now I'm removing the factory turbo back exhaust. Once those pieces are off, we'll start putting on the new components, including a Cobb downpipe and catback, and the Cobb intake with airbox.
Okay, and how long does this whole process take, including prep time?
Including prep time, we're looking at probably about 2 to 2.5 hours for this job. So the hardware on the turbo sees a lot of heat cycles, and as a result we frequently see this stuff seize up. This one seems like it's pretty well stuck. It came out part way, and then as I started getting it out, it got tighter and tighter. So I've sprayed it with some PD blaster, worked it back and forth. It seems like it's coming out, but it is still hanging up. I may need to replace a turbo stud or some of the hardware that attaches the exhaust to the turbo. That's something that I come up against very regularly on these cars and other models as well.
So how will this new exhaust affect performance? What is it actually doing?
So the factory exhaust is about a 2.5-inch diameter, and the new one is 3 inches all the way back. So larger diameter, more airflow. Also the new exhaust has a single high-flow catalytic converter, as opposed to a couple of more restrictive cats from the factory. They designed these to be 50 state emissions compliant. With the Colorado emission standards, we can get by with just a single high flow cat as long as it's a good quality cat. We're definitely going to have to replace this the stud. You can see the seized stud broke off in the nut, so now we'll be replacing that.
Is that common for that to happen on vehicles this old?
Yeah, I've even seen that happen on 2015 and 2016 models with turbochargers. Like I said, the turbo sees a lot of heat cycles. Very high temperatures, then it cools off, then very high temperatures.
So they just get real brittle and break off when you're trying to loosen them up?
They do, yeah. They get brittle, and then also the threads actually seized on this one, so that's what caused it to break off. So we'll need to extract the broken stud and replace it with a new stud. I try to keep those on hand all the time. That's something that you probably don't have in your garage at home. As I was removing the nut, the stud and the nut seized together, and I was able to apply enough force to that it broke off rather than loosening and coming out of the turbo here. So we've got one stud broken off on the top corner there, and I'm going to put an extractor on that and attempt to remove it from the turbo. Oh, such relief. It actually came out in one piece. All right, now that we have the broken stud extracted, I ran a thread chaser through the hole to clean up all of the threads, and now we're going to install the new stud. This is a brand new heat-treated stud. I'm going to apply a little anti-seize before I put it in there, and that way it will come out more easily next time. So. See, this is really nice polished stainless steel. They've done a great job on this stuff. It looks beautiful. Much thicker diameter than the factory exhaust that we've removed. So this DEI turbo blanket comes with a small roll of wrap. You can use this either on the manifold or the downpipe. The manifold is not very accessible, so I'm going to use it to wrap just the top part of my downpipe here. So in addition to using anti-seize lubricant on the hardware, I'm also going to replace all of the nuts with some brand new nuts, the correct thread pitch. These have a special coating on them, so between the nickel anti-seize and the coating on this hardware, it should come off very easily next time. The reason that we use studs instead of bolts is so that the unit can be replaced. On the one side, it only needs to be finger tight because we'll put a nut on the other side that pulls it up against that. So there's no need to torque the one that goes into the turbo. That one we want it to remain somewhat loose in case we need to remove it to replace that stud again. So the new intake is a nice 3-inch diameter aluminum pipe. It has a wrinkle black finish on it. Really nice finish. I'm excited about this piece. Anytime we install components, especially on the intake, we like to do a smoke test to check for intake leaks, boost leaks, vacuum leaks. What we're going to do is hook up this machine here. This is a machine that builds very light pressure, about 2 psi, and generates a smoke from a mineral oil. It vaporizes the mineral oil, uses that to create the pressure, and then we'll be able to see right away if we have leaks based on the pressure gauges and flow meter on the smoke machine. And you can see the pressure gauge here, that is in inches of water. So we expect to see about 11 or 12 when it's finished. It's at about 11 inches of water. You can see the ball has dropped now below the 40 thousandths. We're approaching 35 thousandths of an inch of leak size. So this is a very tightly sealed engine. We occasionally see one as tightly sealed as 20, but a passing score again is if the ball drops from the top position, and we see above 10 inches here. So. Nice new cotton cone filter from Cobb. These do require a little bit of oil to capture the dirt. And you can see this one is a nice flat shaped to fit in this airbox that they have designed for this car. It's pretty normal for that to smoke for a few minutes until all of that stuff burns off. And
then it smokes again when I get it on the dyno.
Yes. Once we start getting it really hot, the turbo blanket and that wrap will give off a little bit of smoke too while it's being heat cycled the first couple of times. It does sound different, yes. It's a little bit louder, a little bit deeper. Not excessively loud. This is not a teenager's dream. This is a very adult sounding exhaust. It adds a little bit of volume, but not so much that it's going to attract a lot of attention.
Okay, Harvey, we're here at the dyno. We know that cars lose a lot of power here at altitude. We're at about a mile above sea level. How does the turbocharger affect that, and what kind of correction factor do you do on your testing procedure?
So over years I've been testing cars over and over, and I offer free baselines for most cars. I've been able to match supercharged and turbocharged cars on pretty closely with their stock numbers on the same dyno at sea level by using different factors, whether they're turbocharged or normally aspirated. So what we've determined is a turbocharged car loses about 15% up here, and a normally aspirated car loses about 25%. So I'll say that this has been tested over and over with many cars, and since we offer free baselines on stock cars when we're doing some tuning, we can see these numbers throughout the years, and they jive with many different horsepower levels. All right, so I just opened up their sort of claims. They don't like to publish numbers because all dynos read very differently. But the red and blue ones are, I believe, stage 1 maps. One's for 93 in blue and one's for 91 in red, I believe. Or is that? Oh yeah, high boost and low boost is the red and blue actually. So here today we're going to go stage 2. We're doing 91. I think their stage 2 that they're showing is a 93 map. So we do expect to see some gains, maybe not as much as what they're seeing at sea level, but we certainly want to see the torque gains here. But we don't mind if it falls off at the top end, because up here at this altitude we're 5,000 feet and the turbo will have a harder time making the gains that they claim up there. All right, as soon as this hits 180, I'm going to do it. So I'll let it drop back down to about 1,600. Oh, I'm curious. What did this do?
Wow, look at that.
That is crazy.
Holy
yeah.
cow.
I could feel it hit the boost spike and then it pulled the boost back at the beginning of the pull. So you can see it spikes up, comes back, and then goes up again. But stage 2 is sure worth the money. I mean, just a couple parts and a flash. This is not a custom tune. I'll be custom tuning this eventually and I'll invite you guys back. But right now, that's great. Don't know if it needs it. Don't know if I can beat it.
So what kind of gains do you think we're looking at here, roughly?
Oh, wow. I would say a bigger peak gain than we saw last time. So right now we're looking at about 212, 13 horsepower. I'll pull it up really quickly. So the horsepower gains are finally where we want to see them, but the torque gains are even better. So we're at 214 at the wheels now, up from about 205. So another 10 horsepower over the stage 2 and about 25 over the stock. So it's not quite 25% power, but it's certainly more than 25% torque. I'm very impressed, yeah.
So 0 to 60, 6.95, which is quicker. We had a 6.99 before. And it seemed to come off the line a little bit slower, so I think there's a little bit more in it, to be honest. All right, this is the stage 2 tune on the Mk6 Golf. Let's see what it does for lap time. The engine just keeps feeling better and better. It certainly sounds a lot better now. Again, whether it is faster is always interesting because it's spinning the tires more as I go around the track. So that's just something I've got to modulate a little bit better. But the potential is there, of course, that once it hooks up, it's going to go quicker down the straightaway. Definitely still a lot of understeer with this car. Trying everything I can with trail braking to try and get the car to really want to turn in, and it kind of resists that. Definitely get lots and lots of understeer from the vehicle, kind of everywhere I go. So I'm trying to keep the front tires right on the edge so that the understeer is kind of hard to notice, but it's definitely the limiting factor in lap time. So let's see, again, getting that bottoming out of the suspension.
right, good fun in the tuned Stage 2. Get a little bit of brake smoke there. And I even see a cloud of wheel smoke behind me coming off the corner, so definitely the tuning is providing more horsepower. All right.
How do you think you did?
Well, if we were going to go by wheel spin, I'm a lot faster. You can definitely see the tune is adding power.
Yep.
How it translated to lap time, I don't know. I'm curious.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool.
108.43.
Very nice. Yeah.
All right, there you have it. Stage 2 tune.
Woohoo.
All right, thanks, Paul.
It was originally launched as a two-door vehicle. As you can imagine, getting in the back seat was a bit difficult, and after a few years we launched the four-door, and momentum really began to pick up. It became a favorite for customers who wanted a comfortable vehicle during the week and a vehicle that would take them on their weekend adventures anywhere they wanted to go. Through the years, Pathfinder's reputation has only grown, even as we've introduced a full suite of crossovers and SUVs: Xterra, Rogue, Murano, Armada, Juke. And then we launched the 4th generation Pathfinder. Well, first let me say, we've sold 1.5 million Pathfinders since that 1986 original launch. 1.5 million. And we actually